10 Top Attractions in Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming. Yellowstone isn't always just the first national park inside the United States. It is likewise the world's first countrywide park. Yellowstone is likewise one of the maximum particular countrywide parks inside the world because it lies on pinnacle of a supervolcano. The location is actually a hotbed of geothermal activity. It is likewise domestic to extra wild animals than pretty much any location inside the United States. This park is, in truth, one of the few locations wherein uncommon creatures, together with the gray wolf and grizzly bears, are visible on a reasonably normal foundation. An evaluation of the pinnacle visitor points of interest in Yellowstone National Park. Here is the list 10 top attractions in Yellowstone National Park. 10. West Thumb Geyser Basin. The West Thumb Geyser Basin is positioned at the beaches of Yellowstone Lake. Although that is one of the smallest geyser basins in Yellowstone, it does incorporate a famous geothermal characteristic, the fishing cone geyser. Before 1911, anglers who have been fishing in Yellowstone Lake close to this geyser might from time to time plunk their seas nonetheless at the hook into the cone's boiling water, efficiently cooking it alive. That exercise changed into outlawed in 1911. The West Thumb Basin is likewise domestic to numerous different geysers, effervescent dust pots, and warm springs, inclusive of the park's innermost pool, the Abyss Pool. West Thumb Bay, wherein this basin is positioned, receives its call due to the fact Yellowstone Lake changed into defined with the aid of using an early day trip celebration as searching like a hand, and this western bay changed into stated to appear like the thumb of that hand. 9. Yellowstone Lake. This is a completely massive lake, in truth the biggest freshwater lake above 7 feet in North America. It is likewise a completely uncommon lake. Underneath its floor lie geysers, warm springs and canyons which might be as much as 390 feet deep. There is likewise a gap in Yellowstone Lake's Mary Bay wherein water temperatures of 252 levels F were recorded from the floor, though this frame of water looks, for the maximum part, similar to some other lake inside the United States, and each fishing, allow required, and boating are allowed on Yellowstone Lake, which incorporates numerous exclusive species of fish, inclusive of cutthroat trout and longnose suckers. Visitors who need to live close to this lake must e-book their hotels at both the Lake Yellowstone Hotel, which changed into at the beginning constructed in 1891, and the Lake Lodge Cabins. 8. Mount Washburn. This mountain height changed into named for Henry D. Washburn, who led the Washburn-Langford-Doane expedition that explored Yellowstone Park in 1870. Mount Washburn is one of the maximum famous locations to hike in Yellowstone. There are trails that ascend the mountain, one which begins off evolved on the Dunraven Pass trailhead and every other that starts off evolved on the Chittenden Road parking lot. Both provide breathtaking perspectives of the encircling location. However, due to their popularity, they may be crowded at some stage in the high tourism season. Although those trails are taken into consideration pretty smooth, the excessive elevation does have an effect on a few hikers. Wild animals, inclusive of mountain goats and bears, can from time to time be visible from those trails. 7. Norris Geyser Basin. The Norris Geyser Basin is the oldest in Yellowstone. It is likewise the freshest and consists of uncommon acid geysers. Norris is split into sections, the Porcelain Basin and the Back Basin. The Porcelain Basin location consists of loads of geothermal capabilities in a focused location, whilst the points of interest inside the forested Back Basin are unfold out. One of the Back Basin's maximum remarkable capabilities is the Steamboat Geyser that is the tallest inside the world. Steamboat can shoot water 300 to 400 feet inside the air. Sadly, it's far unpredictable, so there's no manner to recognize precisely whilst it'll erupt. The Norris Geyser Basin is a completely dynamic location where an alternate is the norm. For example, the Echinus Geyser changed into as soon as a completely normal performer, erupting about each 35 to 75 minutes. But in 1998, that changed, and now it handiest spouts rarely. 6. Hayden Valley. Because this valley is centrally, it's far one of the maximum famous locations for traffic to visit sea flora and fauna. Large herds of buffalo can regularly be visible grazing in this valley's meadows, and it's now no longer unusual to identify elk, pronghorn antelopes and bears as well. Fortunately, there are various turnouts in Hayden Valley wherein traffic can park to get a higher view of the picturesque valley and its flora and fauna. Hayden Valley additionally boasts trails wherein hikers can get an up-close and private view of the lovely location. The Hayden Valley Trail runs from Yellowstone Lake to the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and shadows the Yellowstone River. The Merry Mountain Trail follows an vintage wagon path and is stated to be the park's maximum famous path. Caution ought to be taken whilst trekking within inside the valley, as bears regularly roam on this location. 5. Mammoth Hot Springs. At Mammoth Hot Springs, steaming warm water flows over travertine terraces, growing a lovely, however otherworldly scene. Some human beings have even defined Mammoth Hot Springs as a cave grew to become internal out. The Mammoth Hot Springs location is split into sections, the upper and lower terraces. Each segment consists of several warm springs and quite a few exciting searching formations. This area of the park is likewise a terrific location to search for elk. They can regularly be visible striking across the Mammoth Hot Spring vacationer middle. Though they seem tame, it's far exceptional that traffic continually supply them a huge berth, especially at some stage in the autumn rutting season whilst the men may be in particular dangerous. Female elk with infants have additionally been recognized to price traffic in the event that they consider that they may be getting too near their younger ones. 4. Midway Geyser Basin. Located, as its call suggests, among the upper and lower geyser basins, Midway is one of the smallest basins in Yellowstone. It additionally consists of the Grand Prismatic Hot Spring that is the maximum photographed geothermal characteristic within inside the park. This huge, 120-foot deep warm spring is well known for its surreal, bright coloring. Its middle is an excellent cerulean hue that could be beautiful on its own, but it's now no longer alone. Instead, the blue is surrounded with the aid of using fiery reds, yellows, and oranges. This geyser basin is likewise domestic to Excelsior, which changed into as soon as the biggest geyser within inside the world. Sadly, this geyser, which as soon as spouted water as excessive as 300 feet, hasn't erupted because the 1880s. It is nonetheless, however, an lively thermal spring. 3. Lamar Valley. Sometimes known as America's Serengeti, this segment of Yellowstone gives a number of the exceptional flora and fauna viewing within inside the park. Located within inside the northeastern nook of Yellowstone, the Lamar Valley is domestic to massive herds of buffalo and is likewise wherein traffic have the exceptional hazard of recognizing wolves. At least one wolf pack, from time to time, commonly are living on this valley. In truth, the Lamar Valley changed into wherein one of the park's maximum well-known packs, the Druids, as soon as recited. Other creatures that may be noticed within inside the Lamar Valley on a reasonably normal foundation are pronghorn antelope, elk, coyotes, and bears. Bears and wolves may be exceptional, determined both early within inside the morning and overdue within inside the evening. 2. Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. This rugged, colorful canyon changed into carved out with the aid of using the effective Yellowstone River over hundreds of years. The Grand Canyon of Yellowstone's maximum well-known points of interest are its very beautiful and massive waterfalls, the Upper Falls and the Lower Falls. The Lower Falls are 2 times as tall as Niagara Falls, plunging about 300 feet whilst the Upper Falls tumble 109 feet. Several warm springs and steam vents also can be visible within inside the location. For people who would really like to live on this location, there are hotels to be had in Canyon Village, inclusive of lodge rooms and RV and tent sites. 1. Upper Geyser Basin. The top geyser basin is, arguably, the maximum famous enchantment in Yellowstone. It is the biggest geyser basin within inside the park and additionally consists of the biggest awareness of warm springs within inside the world. It is likewise domestic to Yellowstone National Park's maximum well-known geyser, Old Faithful. This geyser could be very famous with traffic due to the fact the park can expect pretty as it should be whilst it'll erupt, and the periods among eruptions are pretty short, among 60 to 110 minutes. Besides Old Faithful, there are extra than 150 geysers on this basin, in addition to warm springs and fumaroles. The park has constructed a pleasant course via the Upper Geyser Basin, which makes it smooth to view the various captivating geothermal capabilities within inside the location.